All right, we got it. Now we
Got
are
it.
live streaming. I love this. Hey, hey.
Yes, I need to.
How's my design your life people? All right. So those who are listening live, we don't know how to get on the comments.
We're doing our best to figure it out though. So if you're live, give us a shout out or something so we can see where.
Try to figure it out.
Oh, wait, maybe I found it. No, I have comments, but I don't see live.
Live comments?
No, I don't see them.
So sorry.
We'll figure it out if you're on.
We'll figure it out one day.
Exactly.
All right.
All right.
Thank you all for joining us here at Design Your Life podcast. I am your host, Amy Latino.
And Jackie Cobb. So excited to be here.
And we are women's school strategists. Jackie has her Women of Worth group, and I have my Dish It Out coaching. So we're just really glad to be here.
Links down in the somewhere in the description of that. So in case you ever wonder, you talk about your stuff, but then where am I? So that's where we are. We are in the. We did put our websites in the comments somewhere description. So take a look for those, or you can join our Facebook groups. So join our both. We do different stuff. So same and similar, but also different.
We do. Yep. We offer different classes and options for you to join, both that are friendly budget, and especially one that is currently being offered right now, which is free. And there's absolutely no reason for anybody not to join the free course, because then you get free coaching. Also, too, if you don't want the coaching, you can opt in to have a self-study.
Yes.
So,
but if you want life-changing results, then you definitely
need a coach.
Yes. And Amy and I are going to be telling you soon about a little option that you might have to get both of us, because, who doesn't want both of us?
Yeah, who doesn't want both of us? So stay tuned for just some new stuff coming up too. In today's podcast, we don't have to do a
I'm excited about our topic. So.
All right, we'll just get into the topic. The topic is friendship.
Yes, something we know a little bit about.
Yeah, we've been friends for quite some time now, for quite a few years, and we've done homeschooling together. We've seen our children grow, and we've seen all the good things. So
we have been in the muck together all the way up to the beautiful, the good, and the beautiful. So we've been everywhere together, and still going strong. So that's when you got a true friendship, when you can hit rock bottom and sort of the sky together. So
exactly. That is definitely one of the questions that comes up for friendship is, and what is the purpose of friendship? It's, your companion along life's journey towards your highest self. It is through friendship that you receive the consolation, the accompaniment, and the accountability to persevere. And isn't that a beautiful thing to have along in the journey of just life itself? I remember
connections. So
I remember I think it was a spiritual director of mine had said, it is better to have one friend that will lead your soul to heaven than to have many that will lead your soul to hell. So finding, and even scripture says that, I think in Proverbs, it's good to have that one friend that's, is going to lead you to see, to cheer you on, to be the best cheerleader, whipping out those pom-poms for you.
Right.
For you to achieve your goals. So
it's kind of funny that we're here because of those exact friendship requirements.
Yeah. Is when we see the art in each other. Right?
Yeah, you see the art in each other and you build up the beautiful, you cheer each other on, and then you just go, I'm with you for the ride. I trust you.
Right. And that is so wonderful and beautiful, especially because it does impact our health. Friendships do impact who we are, both mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally. And again, we're going back to those 4 basics. Friendships are the bedrock of, our social binding, our social connection. Like you had said, it is a connection. And we'll get into a little bit more of that study that we had talked about a couple of days ago. So anyway,
we will share insight into our personal conversations a couple of days ago with all of you, because it's just such a beautiful gift to know, that having friends can so positively impact our health. Like we talked about health the last couple of weeks in different arenas and things, but we don't think about how the friendship aspect can really impact our health and our well-being, and knowing that, we have, just all these things. Like it never used to occur to me that anxiety and, like depression and things like that can come about when you don't have friendships. You don't have those deep connections with other people. And that's actually what our bodies are trying to tell us. Like we need to connect with someone at those points. And that's when we tend to kind of pull away from people, but it's actually when we want to be falling into those connections and saying, hey,
I'm here.
Can you help lift me up? Yeah.
Right. Right. Yes. Oh my gosh. I loved it when I was going through a really difficult time. It was during, postpartum depression, anxiety. I had a friend of mine said, even Jesus needed a Simon. And that was so powerful for me to hear, because I had such a hard time reaching out for help. Yeah. I was, I was drowning in this depression. I was drowning in this anxiety of having a new baby. And, it's overwhelming. But when she had said that, it gave me the permission to say, oh my gosh, I can't do this alone. Christ fell 3 times. Even Christ needed his Simon. So that has been one of my go-to sayings for somebody who is going through a difficult time. Hey, call on me. Even Jesus needed one. You know? So you're not above that.
Right. Exactly.
And there is that crisis of friendship that we have sometimes, in friendships, we're seeing that there's no time for that depth. We're too busy, not enough energy, and we're having to make that extra effort at times. And there are times in friendships where, walls are up and they have unprocessed wounds. They're lacking in effective communication skills, or they're too stressed to connect. And this goes back to that story that I was saying. So there was this study that was done with rats, and it's called the Rat Park study. And they, the scientists came up with this: rats that were given 2 types of water. One was clean and one was adulterated. It had cocaine and heroin in it. And these rats in this cage just kept on going to the ones that had heroin and cocaine in it. And eventually within weeks, they were dead. They killed each other. And this other scientist came along, this psychologist came along and said, hey, wait a minute. You left them in a cage of nothing, with nothing to do. So he created the same scenario. However, this was a rat park, and it had grass and it had the sun, had plenty of rats to go around, plenty of food, plenty of sex, plenty of water that was both adulterated with the cocaine and heroin and clean. The rats chose only the clean water. Why is that? The psychologist summarized, is because they had connection. the rats had each other. They had that community of person, that communal personhood, or not personhood, rathood, I should say.
But there must be something between people and rats, because they're always comparing us. So
right, because they are social creatures.
Right.
They are social creatures. So, and he goes on to say, the psychologist goes on to say, is that sobriety isn't the opposite of addiction.
Yeah, sorry.
That's okay.
I messed up the
word. Sobriety isn't the opposite of addiction. It's connection.
The
opposite of addiction is connection. And for me, when I heard that, because of my own addictions of food, I struggled with food addictions for a long time. That was like such a really beautiful, deep and penetrating thing in my heart. I was like, oh my gosh, that is so true. Because guess what? When I go to food, it's not going to say no to me.
Right.
It's not going to make fun of me. It's just going to love me. It's going to love me into what it is and nothing.
And it's not going to hold you accountable.
Right. Right. What is alcohol going to do? Mm-hmm. It's going to love you into what you think you should be doing. Right.
Right.
Love you into that connection.
Like a lot of people think it frees you to be yourself.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, I'm guilty of that. That's why I can say that, because it does, like it gives you that inhibition. But wouldn't it be a beautiful thing to be able to be yourself around people without the alcohol? And so,
or even our phones, the addiction to our phones. Again, we're picking up a phone that's never going to say no to us. We're picking up a phone that isn't going to, zap electricity into our hands.
Right. Exactly. And it's not going to give us our time back. Like it literally is going to suck away our time. Yeah. And then we don't have time for a true connection.
Yes. And that was exactly what that study was about. I'm going to go ahead and post that study in mine, and Jackie can post it in her group as well. And then we can have a discussion about that, because I thought it was very powerful. So that is so important. Our friendship and our connections are so important for our health, and for that stability of mind, for them to see you grow and for you to see them grow. It is a beautiful and wonderful thing. And then you have friendships that, kind of ebb and flow, which is okay. That's actually, that's very normal. And sometimes you can have that really deep connection with that friend, not talk for years, but when you come to talk again, you pick up right where you left off. Again, a very normal and healthy relationship. And friendships they require time for depth. And we need to be masters at drawing depth from small moments, because there's not a lot of time. Right. There's not a lot of time. And what does that mean? It means asking the right questions and being willing to have difficult conversations respectfully. Yes. One of my son's ABA therapist had said, she trains people to have those difficult conversations. And one of the things that she'll do, if she has to have a difficult conversation with someone, is says, hey, could you sit down for a moment? We're about to have a difficult conversation. So it sets up the person to know that this isn't just going to be a happy-go-lucky talk, right? But that it's going to be serious, and we need to have an open dialogue. Right. So it was one of the things that I thought was really beautiful in bringing into conversations that can be difficult, is just set it up and just know that we're both going to sit here and we're both going to have normal conversation. An adult conversation, of course, respecting each other's beliefs.
And I think too, like the one thing that I feel I've noticed in friendships is that a lot of times all relationships, not just friendships, but we're not giving other people the benefit of the doubt. We're always assuming the worst, or assuming that someone's coming from a negative place when, you know, it's hard. I mean, it's so hard to hear when you're not bringing your best self to a relationship or a friendship. It's absolutely difficult to listen to. But what a powerful thing to have a friend come to you and say, you know, I want to have this difficult conversation, because a lot of times people can just walk away from you.
Yeah.
And instead, to be able to say that, you know, and, you know, of course, you've got to have your boundaries. You can have toxicity, you know, things like that. Like, we're not suggesting that, you know, anything like that. But, you know, I see so much of that. Like, when we sit down to have those difficult conversations, how hard it is. And a lot of that is because of our past. We're bringing all of those connections that we've had in the past into our current situations, and it's really hard to put those aside and to just focus on that person in front of you. And another thing is just always that, like, we're always trying to answer, we're always trying to respond to things, and it has been so life-changing. And I want to give credit to the masterclass, not that I'm trying to, you know, promote it again, but truly, this is where I learned to just not worry about it. Whatever I have to say will probably come back if it needs to be said, or, you know, whatever. I have to trust that if I'm listening, it's going to be a conversation that is going to bear fruit. And some of the best friendships that I have are the ones that I've had difficult conversations with. So it really is such a beautiful gift to a friendship to know that you're loved unconditionally, and you're going to have that, you know, ability to have that difficult conversation, and not always expect that they're just gonna like hate you, they're gonna like get mad at you, you're gonna argue about it. You know, go into it with that positive mindset of, this is going to benefit both of us. Like, we won't have that underlying tension, or, you know, whatever the case may be. So this is why I'm passionate about that. Yeah. Because, you know, you need to have friends. You've got to have friends. Yeah. So, such a beautiful gift.
Yes. Yes. It is a very, very beautiful gift. One of the things that we do talk about in the women's school too, is how are we showing up for our friends? Are we judging?
Comparing
people? Yeah. Comparing. Are we judging people in our thoughts? Because that shuts doors. People can tell when you're being judged.
Yeah.
I can tell when I'm being judged, and boy, oh boy, it doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
You know, this is where we get into that idea of thoughts have energy, because they do. That thought that person is having is a vibrating energy within their body, and it does emit out. You do feel it. It is a tangible thing. It's not a wookie wonky thing of whatever. No, a perfect example is this. If you walk into a room of two people who are having a very intense situation, you know off the bat. Because the room, yes, you want to walk right out, because you can feel that energy, that thing there, just as much as you when you were walking into a party and everybody's going whoop whoop, you know, dancing and happy and joyful. You are feeling that energy, that tangible energy. So it's so important that we need to check ourselves constantly. Am I judging this person? You know, what's going on with my thoughts with this person? And it's hard. It's especially difficult when there's been wounds and there's been that hurt. People can, you know, either misunderstand you or just don't take the extra time to get to know you. And that's another issue too. So how are we showing up to our friendships? How are we showing up to that's, you know, a potential friendship too? Like, how are we showing up there as well? Another thing is that I wrote something on here and it doesn't make sense.
Did it have to do with like the whole, like, when we were like looking at stuff for this class, the like direction of things, like friendship, you know, kind of like the direction that we take with friendships, you know, we have the desire for people to, you know, be in our lives and things like that. But as you said, like when are we showing up and things like that, that was
that was my husband.
That was her husband. Hi, Dana. So cute. Shout out.
Shout out to my husband.
Hey, we're living real life here, okay? Just in case you guys didn't know.
It's live.
Cows in the background, talking to you guys,
dogs
staring us down, dogs running around. This week I'm back at home, but funny. You know, it's all good. We got things. So yeah. But yeah, just I don't know where you were going. So I was kind of just filling space, I guess.
Yes.
I don't know where I was going either.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
There's so many things to say. Like there's just so much we could talk about in this area, because I am passionate about friendships and, you know, just having them be a positive experience. You know, I hate the competition and the comparison. You know, women are so competitive and, you know, constantly comparing themselves to each other. And, you know, like I just want to see women thriving and like coming together and saying, hey, I know you're not perfect. I'm not perfect. Like, let's just start with that, you know, the basics of all we need to know about each other is I'm sinful, you're sinful, whatever the case may be. And I don't think there's anything we can't work through unless you go off and try to steal my husband. You know, we might not be able to get through that. But, you know, like there's a lot of
boundaries.
Yeah, we got to have boundaries. I mean, absolutely, you know, and I mean, you know, you can't allow someone to just be, you know, to do things like, you know, constantly going off on you or, you know, things like that. Like you know, obviously you've got to have your boundaries in areas with friendships, but for the most part, I don't feel like there's anything you can't get past if you're willing to, you know, kind of like, I think ego and pride and things like that will come together too. And so, and time, like we just don't, like you said earlier, we don't give the time to our friendships. You know, we're always busy. And if we're kind of the way that I see it is if we're always busy, then we need to look at our schedule and see what are we doing that is not filling our cup? What are we doing? Just wasting time. Like how often are we scrolling through our phones, you know? Yeah. But, you know, all of those things, like just friendships take work, just like any other relationship. And, you know, so that's, you know, it's a gift. Yeah. It's a gift we give people. So, yes.
Another thing is that we can't expect to want positive friends when we're constantly being negative. They won't stay. That was another thing that we want friends that are respectable and not gossip. And if you do, they will walk out. I have been in situations like that myself.
Well, sorry.
Go ahead. No, yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, and also like we want to have the skill set to be able to say, you know, like, let's pray for that person instead of talking about them, you know, or whatever the case may be. So,
Yep. And it's not an easy situation to be in, but you are called to raise the conversation in that particular moment, either walk away or again, you know, elevate the conversation to something different and change the subject. You know, that's interesting and change the conversation, or that's interesting and walk off. It will give a clear sign that this is not acceptable behavior. And that person, when you walk away from a situation like that or change the conversation, they're going to know that that's a boundary for you, and they're not, chances are they won't do it again.
Right.
You know, or they shouldn't.
I feel like you're setting a positive example too, because, you know, and don't get me wrong, like I am not perfect. I certainly have had my share of times where I just, you know, and I called it venting and it wasn't, you know, appropriate to, you know, like it just, I needed to be more aware. I've become like, it definitely like there's a lot we can do. Like our mindset though is so important to work on outside of these things so that when these situations come, we are prepared for them. Because I think that's where we go wrong so many times is, when you're in the middle of a conversation and, people start gossiping, how hard is it to shut it down or to walk away? Because you feel like if I do that, then I'm going to lose friends. And, I think people get wrapped up in that. So, I totally understand getting into that, and negativity breeds negativity. And, you kind of get caught up in that and everything. But if you take your mindset, you do the work prior to those moments, when you're in those moments, you can just freely say, the examples of the things that you said. And I think that that's where, I see the struggle in women and having those friendships, because you don't want to be that person who stands out in that way. You know what I mean? Like standing up, because it's hard to be that, what am I trying to say? You know what I'm trying to say, right?
Yeah. It's difficult to be.
It is like, it's super difficult in that moment to try to figure out how to handle it, as opposed to have those scripts in your head, have those mindsets where you can say whatever those beautiful things were that you said, interesting, walk away,
interesting,
because and they say FOMO is a real thing. And I think that, these situations where we allow things that we shouldn't or don't normally or don't want to, the reason we allow them is because we're not prepared in advance for them.
Right.
And that's so key. So I just wanted to kind of point that out, that like that's been something beneficial. And I think we can relate to that because, having done these skills, finally, I know how to do it and what to do,
Right. Right. Yes, absolutely. Another thing that we can also talk about here is to be clear about our expectations in our friendships, to also understand that what we bring to the table, and sometimes our friends are in such a stressful state in their life. It's a season for them, and we can't expect them to give to their full capacity. And I think there needs to be that grace, and there needs to be that honor there, but also being very clear about the expectations in the friendship. If they are a friend that tends to just, be very, very needy, is never out of that season, you kind of went into that friendship like that. They're continuing like that. And there doesn't seem to be that, all right, I want to make a better life. I want to make a better life. I want to make better decisions. I want to be a better person. And they're constantly in that victim mode. There needs to be a clear expectation in that friendship that, you can give, but also understand from a place of grace, and to have that, that firm ground that, okay, I'll go ahead and listen to what you got. I'll definitely do that. But to also know that, okay, I've got some things to do right now. You're definitely in my prayers. Here's some advice.
Right.
You can still offer that, being firm and tender in your response, and having that grace when your friend is going through a difficult moment or, a difficult season. It's different from somebody who is constantly doing that, but somebody who is, a friendship that is a friend that is going through a difficult season we can't expect them to give in their full capacity. And, hopefully that they would also have that same grace when we are going through our seasons of difficulty. So,
absolutely.
Also, those friends or acquaintances, we don't need to tell them everything. We can definitely, have they earned the right to hear your dreams? That's another area of friendship or acquaintances. You don't want somebody who's going to shoot you down
You don't want somebody who's not going to honor what your God-given desire is. You're not going to want that in your friendships.
Absolutely.
You can put that aside and hold that close to your heart with those friends who are just kind of like on the outside, those acquaintances. So, we don't have to tell everybody everything all the time on Facebook. They have to earn the right to hear that dream.
Right.
So know what to share and what not to share. We need to protect our time and energy. We need to make time to invest in friendships that are growing. And just some other questions that you can ask yourself before we go is, do you consider yourself a positive and kind friend? Are your thoughts and words and actions opening doors for friendship, or are they closing doors for friendship? Are you a good listener, empathetic, and patient friend? So those are some questions to ponder.
Yeah, very good questions to ponder. And two, if you answer those questions, like, one of the things that we coach on is just being able to, to look at those questions and to delve deeply inside yourself, because you can't change other people. You can't do, anything else. You can only look at yourself and change yourself. And a lot of times, it gives us the clear boundaries we need in order to have Walking with Purpose had this great, I think it was a friendship study. I can't remember the name of it, but it was about like your different circles. Like you have your inner circle, and then you have kind of your peripheral circle of friends. And then, you have your outer, because you have different levels of friendships. And some people are going to be like, your inner circle very close to you. And then you're going to have the people that are, like, I consider everybody my friend. Like I literally everybody's my friend. But I have my core friends that I'm like loyal to, that I'm like, not that I'm not loyal to everybody, but just, I do have that level of intimacy with them.
Yeah.
That, I sometimes probably do share too much with people that don't know me, but like I just want to be friends with everybody. So give me some grace there, but if you are living and breathing, you could be my friend.
That's one of the most wonderful things about you, Jacki.
Oh, thank you.
You're very inviting, and it's so nice to have that.
Thank you. I feel the same way about you, Amy, because I'm literally like just in awe of you so many times when I'm just like, I want to be a better person. And my inspiration is Amy, because you have a beautiful way about you. Like, honestly, this is our true feelings. And we didn't rehearse this.
Didn't even rehearse that
We're
part.
just ready to embarrass ourselves right here. But this is why I love doing this podcast and being able to share this, with whoever wants to listen to us, but also because it's just such an encouraging, positive, beautiful friendship. And if we can bring that out to other people, what a gift we give. And so hopefully everybody else gets to have as much fun as we do.
Yeah, that's right. And it's really important to understand that, God is communion. He is a communion of persons. He is in that relationship, and he stamps his very being into who we are. So we crave that relationship. We crave that friendship. Even if, like I said, you have that one friend, you're still going to crave that. We're not an island. We weren't created to be that. We were created to aspire to that holiness that Christ calls us to. And through that, we have our friendships, and we have those challenging moments in those friendships. We have those challenging moments in those people that we meet. And that, through that, it's making us holy, even though we might not like it anymore, even though we might not like that person, we might not, Dana has my husband, for those of you who don't know, is my husband. He has a wonderful way of doing that, and it teaches me. And you know what, we will be in prayer, and he'll pray for people that I've been upset with, and I'm there, and he's making me pray for them, and I'm like, I want to pray for them. Yes. But you know, he is so good about that because he knows the truth, and he goes to the source of who Christ is. And that is, you know, in that communion with him and his, you know, and he's said it over and over and over to me. It's like, Amy, Jesus died for them too. I'm like, yeah, but I know, but you know, like, stop talking all sense to me. That's not what I want to hear.
What a beautiful friendship you have with your husband. I admire that so much. Like, you guys really do have a friendship, and that's such a beautiful gift in a marriage, because, you know, I read in a book, you should have your girlfriends because those are the ones you talk to about the things your husband doesn't want to hear. Because men and women are different in that, in that regard. Men just want to solve problems. They don't, you know, we just want to vent. Don't solve my problem. And I think it was called the Happy Housewife or something like that, which, you know, but that was such a beautiful thing to read, was, you know, that's why we have friendships, because our girlfriends understand us. You know, that's why we have that connection with women. And, you know, we bring this gift to each other to be able to understand, and, you know, and our husbands, then we can be free with them to not have all that luggage and baggage and everything. And we can take that, you know, and have all of the leading into intimacy next week, or, you know, just being able to like have that freedom to be friends, because we recognize that, you know, we're different. And so we have different things we bring to our friendship and our marriage than we do in our friendship with our friends. So what a beautiful gift. You guys are an example to everybody for that. So
I like him. He's kind of cool. Although when he brings me,
when he brings me apple tea, is that what I heard?
Yes. Right in the middle of it. And I was like, dude, and that's when he spilled it. I was like, that was hot.
But you know what? Now people know, like, we're just here for the fun, because life is happening around us.
Life.
Sometimes you might hear my husband through the walls, because conference calls are super loud, and I need what are those soundproofing things and everything.
Yeah.
You know what? He's so funny. Like, he's so fun over there, and I'm like, I hope y'all can't hear him. If you can, sorry. We aren't professional podcasters with studios and things like that. We're sitting in our homes.
That's okay. Yeah, sitting in our homes.
Yeah.
Doing our things.
Cow pastures. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Well, maybe not in the pasture, but you know.
So what about our next week venture?
Yeah.
Like you said that you're going to be on a retreat?
Yeah, I'm going to be on a retreat next Friday. So we might be live. We might not be live. We might be recorded. We might be like, I don't know, because I don't want to miss talking to you, because this is like that is also the great thing about doing this with a friend, is that you actually purposefully have that time together, because we used to go months without talking. And then, you know, being in two separate countries has a lot to do with that. But, you know, the time zones can be overcome with the right schedule, and we've made time for that. So I think that, you know, we'll figure something out for next week. We'll come at you next week, because we got some good stuff to talk about, but we'll figure it out and let y'all know. Because that's how we roll.
Yes, that is how we roll. Love it. Alrighty.
All right. Ciao, Bella.
Ciao, Bella. Arrivederci.
And everybody else, arrivederci. It's been so long, my accent's gone, but I hope you have a blessed weekend, and next week. And we will talk to y'all later.
Yes, KTD Benedicta.
Bye.
Bye.